Okay, so today we're going to talk about roommates and why it's important to communicate. Over the past 3.5 years, well, if you want to say four, including the summer I did abroad, it's been a roller coaster. I've had two roommates here at my institution, and the first one was alright. I don't know how we made it through, but we did. Whatever. I don't. That was 3 years ago. That's behind. And then the roommate I have now, I've had since sophomore year. Things were fine, or at least I thought they were fine, until earlier in the semester when she pretty much like didn't speak to me. And I thought that was a little awkward because we used to talk, we used to go get dinner together, things like that. We used to be friends, put it that way. And things happen. I'm not gonna say they don't because then I wouldn't be real with you. And the whole purpose of my channel is to be real with you. Coming from a student perspective, it's important to address any concerns you may have. Like, for example, in my room, we have a poster when you first walk in, the 10 Commandments, and they just, different rules. A couple of them I don't agree with, but whatever. Um, One of them, for instance, is please notify the other person of an overnight guest at least 24 hours in advance. Now, my issue with this is you both pay the same amount for that room. To clarify, I put that rule there to meet the needs of an individual, because and me personally, I always ask, but I feel like if it's not on paper, it doesn't really matter. If it's not written down somewhere, set in stone, this is the situation, then I don't know, because I feel like it's like a lot of people don't realize that students come from all over the country. We don't necessarily have a place to go every weekend. You may be able to go home every weekend because you live an hour away, but me or the person down the hall live on the other side of the country. And or we go home and our parents turned our room into like the sewing room, which that happened to a friend of mine. His room's turned into a garage, well, an extra storage room. And then another friend of mine, his mom rented out his room. That was interesting. But the point is being courteous to your roommate. You have a roommate to build social skills, to build teamwork and guidance and things like that, and to get ready for the real world, because you're going to be stuck with people that you may not necessarily like, or you may not necessarily know them. You may like them, but you don't know them, or you don't know them and you don't like them. And sometimes some schools have different rules. I can't tell you. My school, unfortunately, we have a rule where the first, I think, 2 to 3 weeks, you have to get used to your roommate, and then you can switch rooms if you and your roommate cannot come to terms. However, some people, as I've seen personally, firsthand, wait until like 2 months in to really show their true colors and how they feel about the situation. I don't think this is a good or beneficial idea. I think it causes more problems. And as far as communication is concerned, half of these students that have these issues don't necessarily exhibit, or they don't voice their opinions, and frankly, that's not my problem. I've had situations where, okay, I'm gonna give you first-hand experience. My boyfriend comes over. He does not spend the night. I asked my roommate, do you mind, would it be okay if so-and-so comes over? And I try to do things on the weekend, because usually the weekends are when people leave. And she kind of like shot me down. And then she responded saying, well, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. So today and tomorrow. My issue with that was, don't you have class? I don't ask questions. But at the same time, it's like you're coming to some type of agreement, which you can't play with. I mean, if that person's in school too, that's a different story. But if this person is not in school, for instance, my friend is not in school. They work. They want to come over, and sometimes they're too tired to go home at 11 o'clock at night. Or they get off of work at 7, they want to hang out. And that's the only free time I have. So my issue is when people say one thing and then go against their word, or you make a set of rules, just the kind of ground rules that I feel like everybody should have. Some people don't believe in them because they're like, you should have open communication with your roommate, but some roommates do not agree with that, and I've come to that conclusion firsthand. Again, putting my business out there, just because this channel is to be real with you and to be completely honest, and I think it's important. Like, I don't necessarily have my own room when I go to my aunt's house, or when I even go to my own parents' house, or even to my grandparents' house. So it's difficult for me to kind of bring people over, have friends over, because I don't have that space that's solely mine. So when I'm at school, if I want my friends over, I'm going to have them over. I'm respectful in the sense that, hey, this person's going to be a little bit late, or whatever the case may be. This is, I think, the second time I've asked for someone to come over and spend the night, for a friend to come over and spend the night, and I feel like I get backlash every time. The last time I asked was my birthday weekend, and then I asked for last weekend, but she couldn't do last weekend, and I couldn't necessarily do last weekend because I had a lot of homework I had to do, so I'm trying to have this person over this week. And I got a text saying, this is the last time I'm doing this for the rest of the semester. Well, you're also this person's also the person that said, I don't feel comfortable having other people in the room. With that being said, I do not understand how someone can dorm and not feel comfortable being in a social environment. When you're in the workplace, you have to be social. You have to engage in teamwork. You have to be able to take a chance and work with other people that you may not like. That's what happens. I've worked with people that I don't like. I've had supervisors that I don't agree with. Or things that they do that I don't necessarily agree with, but because you're an employee or you were part of that team, you are responsible for making that thing happen. And same thing goes for being in school. You have a roommate. Cool. Does this person respect your space and do you respect theirs? I would hope so. My dorm, which is really small, and I'm sorry for like the plainness back there, but my dorm is not big at all. If I could have like a sheet going down the middle, I totally would. It's too small. I can't do that. Now, what you can do is what I did. We set up a list of rules, the 10 Commandments, and just kind of like being courteous. Don't forget, being courteous. If you're going to leave for the weekend, let the other person know. Like in my case, I'm not technically supposed to live by myself because of a medical condition, and right now I'm in the process of being able to get that paperwork saying that I can be by myself, which hopefully comes through. And I'll talk about that in another video. But these are things, it's first of all, it's common sense. Number 2, it's being courteous. 3, it's being respectful and being a person. And 4, you need to be able to function in society. If you cannot function with a roommate, what makes me think that you can function in society? And unfortunately, that's been the case with several people that I have met. Some people are like, I don't like group work. No one likes group work, but we have to do it. When you go to college, where I attend school, in my university, we have what we call housing points. The more involved you are, the better housing you get. Or you can get a single. If you're not involved, you're not getting that single. So I don't understand why people complain, oh, I wish I had a single, or how come you have the single and I don't? Well, you weren't involved. That's not my problem. I had my grades up. I had my involvement up. I did XYZ. You didn't. That's not my issue. Same thing goes for work. When you're in a professional environment, you may have certain goals, certain merits that you achieve to get to a larger goal. Whether it be a promotion or whether it be, I don't know, extra vacation time or something. Like, you meet certain expectations to get to that point. And a lot of people don't see that and they don't understand that. And I don't want to start blaming people, but I feel like it all goes back to the home and to that person's personality. You cannot alter personality because personality is a learned behavior. It can be environmental too, but it's mostly learned. But that doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. I've never shared a room. I have a roommate. I've been fine. I had one issue freshman year, and this is my last semester as a senior, and this is my second issue that I've had with a roommate, and that's it. Never have I ever had an issue with someone. But the first one was that person wasn't used to being in a certain environment, and they got a little comfortable, but that's null and void. The current situation deals with the fact that I'm social. I have a life. I do things. I'm into my academics. I'm involved. I do this, that, and third. Like, I do a ton of crap. And other people may not. Like, that's... I want to say it stems from a feel of jealousy because you have certain things that they don't. I'm not gonna lie. I've been jealous of this particular person, but for a different reason. However, at the same time, it's come to my attention that this person may be jealous of me in my situation because I'm involved, because I have a significant other, because I'm graduating early, because I'm doing X, Y, and Z. But no one can change that but that person. So what I'm trying to say is when you have a roommate, it's important just to have all levels of communication, whether it be leaving notes, sending a text message, trying to just be friendly, be social with that person. And what I think is really destructive and what can really burn something is when someone says, I prefer that we don't speak for the rest of the semester. And that I've seen that happen to people, and they've had really bad roommate situations. I knew girls that lived in a quad last year, and one of the girls just like, it was a horrible experience. It screwed them up. It caused that entire quad to be split into doubles. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm not saying it's a good thing either. What I'm saying is that's what happens when you don't communicate. I've seen quads and triples that have lasted all 3 years. And then there are some that just don't. I've seen doubles that last all 4 years. But it's all dependent on the person. And you can't control that. So please really think about some of the things that I've mentioned. Communicating and being involved. Make sure that everybody in the room, that their feelings are out on the table, because you can't accommodate, if you can't help someone if they don't help themselves. And I feel like this is part of it. So whether it be just having a 5-minute conversation, or whether it be words of encouragement every once in a while, or just anything, it's important. Just communicate. If you have a problem, talk to your RA. That's what they're there for. My RA is really good at that. You know, we're all friends anyway, but we all sit there and we talk about issues that we're having, or issues that people that we know are having that aren't necessarily going to voice their opinion because we are concerned for them. So these are all things that are very important, very crucial to surviving the roommate experience. Not necessarily, and there's a reason why I'm not touching on alcohol and drugs and things like that, because that's a whole different video. But it's important to just make sure that everyone's comfortable. So if you have ever had an experience with a roommate, or know anyone that has had an experience with a roommate, put them in the comments down below, and we're going to talk about this, because I think it's a great topic. I think it's important because we're all college, or we all have a roommate. And this isn't constricted to just college. It also includes living at home or living on your own and being like 25, 26 and having a roommate, or 32 and having a roommate. Because believe it or not, those married couples don't, a lot of them who move in together that have problems probably never had a roommate. So keep that in mind before you and your boyfriend, or you and your girlfriend, or whatever your preference may be, move in together. And same thing goes to parents. I mean, honestly, let's talk about it. But yeah, leave your comments down below about your experiences and things like that, and we'll talk about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm sorry for being long, but all right, have a great day, guys. Mwah.